What is up, my fellow Trojans? Okay, we're back in another Dawnless Days Total War battle with Pope John Paul. I believe we were fighting on his live stream, I believe this last Sunday. This is our first land battle. It's a 4v4, okay? It was crazy. It was super chaotic. All right, and as you're going to see, we definitely lost this one due to our random ally on the left. He was playing as Rohan, and he's going against Pope playing as Dorwinian, which you're going to find in the Last Breath submod, which adds a lot of really cool factions. And a lot of those are being played with today, such as the Iron Hills, Khand, the Umbar faction, and Dorwinian. All right, so what ended up happening is Pope ended up bringing his army around. He didn't do a very good job of holding the left flank. Pope and Umbar both pretty much swept away the left flank. Over here on the right, us dwarven factions under Sharp and us, we held out against our enemies, but these two armies came around and pretty much took us in the flank. Ended up folding our entire line, taking us all in the rear, and in the end, absolutely destroying us. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go over the army comps. I ended up leaving a unit of Dwarven Axe Infantry, Dwarven Axe Throwers over here on the far right, at the edge of the map, and Pope and Mythic and them thought I was hiding a bunch of units over here. So it ended up playing out in my favor. I kind of tricked them a little bit, maybe made them a little uneasy, but no, they were just forgotten over here, which is unfortunate. Over here on my far right, I got some Karnan River Guard. Okay, these are some pretty decent spear infantry. They're not really as good as the Iron Guards themselves, which I probably should have gotten instead. But they still do a pretty decent job of fighting off the enemy cav. And then over here, I got some Maddock Warriors, just some normal heavy shock infantry here. Not the best, but definitely by far not the worst in the mod. Okay, got some more Karnan River Guard. Of course, I brought some Iron Hill crossbows, mostly for their armor piercing damage. I thought they were going to perform pretty well, especially against the enemy cav and enemy shock troops and all that good stuff. I also brought some more Maddock Warriors. I got some Arid Mithrin veterans back here. These guys are my favorite unit. We're going to go and slow this down. Just look at them real quick. These guys look awesome. Look at this. Look at those helmets. These guys look really, really cool. I got Dane Ironfoot back here, of course. Okay, with his famous lore accurate red axe. He's obviously the older Dane Ironfoot, probably the one that died outside the gates of Erebor. Okay, and then we also got some Iron Hill warriors here, just some normal sword infantry. These guys do pretty well. They really hold out. Classic, dwarven heavy infantry. And then the main line ended up bringing some Iron Hill pikemen. I really thought that these guys were going to do better, but I forgot that their missile block chance really isn't too great. So next time, I'm definitely going to make my main line a bunch of Iron Guards. Okay, so they're really heavy spear infantry for the dwarves. They'll probably perform a lot better and have way better missile block chance. Okay, over here in the center we have Sharp. Okay, he's also playing as the Iron Hills. He has Iron Fortress guards here. These guys look pretty cool. Then he's got some Dwarven Axe Infantry making up his first line. His second line, he's got those Iron Guards that I was talking about, these very heavy spear infantry here. And then behind, he's got some Warriors of Arid Mithrin. And then, of course, he also has Dane Ironfoot with the Sons of the Mountain back here. Our other ally was playing as the Easterlings. He's got some Lokrim Archers. These guys look pretty cool. I really like the Easterling models that they made. Really look exactly like the Peter Jackson movies. Their bows look pretty menacing with, those blades on the end of them. And his main line was made out of all Lokrim Macemen. He really just spammed, like two different types of units. He did have some chariots over here, and they try to go ahead and charge against the enemy, but they're pretty much taken out. He sent out, the enemy Umbar faction sent out their Heradrim auxiliaries, kind of like slowed them down, and then he used his 8 archer units to absolutely destroy his chariots. Look, they're all just dead back here in the water. Yeah, this boggy ground definitely wasn't a good place for these chariots. They just got bogged down and pretty much just picked apart by these archers. So now they're going to start an archer fight. These Lokrim archers are going to go ahead and fight against these Balak bowmen. And what are his other archers? Yeah, some Blackhaven marksmen here. Over here on our far left, obviously, is Rohan, and he's try to face off against Pope and Dorwinian. Dorwinian's a pretty good faction. They got some Dorwinian crossbowmen right up here. He brought a lot of Vineland men-at-arms, which are pretty decent medium melee infantry, but they also have javelins, which is really an asset at the end of the day. Really adds some more missile power to your forces. He's also got some Avari Wanderers out here in the front. These guys look pretty awesome. I don't really know too much of the lore about Dorwinian. I know they were really good with wine. I believe that they were men and elves, if I'm not mistaken, because, I mean, that's an elf right there. I'm not really quite sure on the lore. If any of you guys know that, please leave that in the comments. I'd be super interested. Then we got some Gwinian sentries over here. These are alright medium shock cav. Then back here, he's got his Vine Lord Byarn. These guys look awesome. Look at this. I really like the helmets. They kind of look like shells almost. You got the purple gems inlaid into their plate armor. It looks really awesome. The shields look really cool as well. Kind of look like turtle shells almost. Then in the back, he's got some Avari warriors, okay, which are pretty much like elven warriors. They kind of look like the Noldor, the high elves kind of looking here. And he's got some watchers of Fenes Gondren back here. These guys look pretty cool. Their shields are awesome. Probably just light militia spearmen. Okay, then you got the Umbar faction. I believe this guy was actually a developer or one of the developers for the Lost Factions pack. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool playing with him. Great job, by the way, with this, the submod. Looks great. All right, so over here, he's got some Baku Magan. These guys look so evil. Look at this. Look absolutely menacing. Great job, with these fallen Numenorian units. They look great. And he's also got some Airfarazon's Asgard back here. These guys are another really cool unit. Really have, the Numenorian style helmets. One thing that we were kind of telling him is we wish they kind of like shined a little bit more, which you're going to see in a couple more units. Also, I would say like maybe the shields, make them a little bit more, badass looking. Okay, and then his main line is made of maces of Tolfalas. And these guys are pretty cool. These guys perform pretty well. They got some Pelgear helmets. They just made them a little bit more darker, made them look more evil looking. Add some insignias right there above the brow band. They have pretty much, scale coats on. These guys look pretty awesome. As you can see, they're kind of shiny a little bit. You'd think that the golden armor would also shine. And he's got some Blackhaven marksmen. These guys are pretty good. And obviously they're going to start their missile dueling match right over here in the left center. And in the center of the battle, we have Khans. Okay, so this is another faction you're going to find with the Last Breath faction pack. Okay, you got Akka Chosen. These guys look really cool. Really mysterious. Look at this. That looks awesome. He's got a full helmet, and then he's got, a complete headscarf over it. And the axes look pretty cool as well. Alright, so then he's got some Wainrider Spear Warriors. These guys are also another really cool unit. Look at their spears. Look awesome. He's got some Khandis Berserkers back here, so some two-handed, crazy Khand Berserkers ready to cause massive damage to the dwarves. He's got some Khandish Bowmen back here. These guys look awesome as well. Really like the face coverings and everything with the Eastern factions. He's got some Eastern Legionaries. So these are polearm, heavy shock infantry. Okay, kind of got like some shorter halberds here, or some long-handled war axes, I would say. And you got more Khandish Berserkers. Okay, over here you have Mythic. Mythic is playing as Gundor. Has a Gundor sword infantry in a long line. What is that? 1, 2. He's got like what 4 units right here. Trying to keep these archers nice and safe. Got some Gundor archers here in the back. He's also got what 1, 2, 3 Knights of the Silver Swan. He's got some Gundor Cav, some Pindith Galen Spearmen over here. And obviously he's going to go to our extreme right, their extreme left, and he's going to try to use these paths to try to come around us and flank us here. So now that we went all the way over the unit compositions and, the setting up and tactics of the entire battle line of ours and theirs, we're going to go ahead and get this battle underway. Also, over here, he's got some Khandish Cataphract. Khan ended up bringing their cav over to their extreme left flank in support. And these guys look evil. I'm telling you guys, look at this. Evil looking. Look at that helmet right there. That's my favorite, honestly. This guy looks awesome. Yeah, these guys are the epiphany of evil of the race of men. Alright, so we kind of advanced. We're going to try to start, shooting at these Gundor sword infantry, hopefully causing some good damage due to our high armor piercing damage. But his Gundor archers are going to start laying into our pikemen and our Iron Hills crossbowmen here. Now over here, his Lokrum archers are kind of getting messed up. He's doing his best. He ended up causing quite a lot of damage to these unarmored Balik bowmen. They ended up kind of getting dropped. This guy brought a lot of archers. Over here, as you can see, what I was talking about, Rohan, that rando ally of ours, he completely gave Pope our left flank. Okay, so Pope just ended up taking the initiative and starting to roll up our lines here. Okay, so he brought his Rohan Cav back here. He brought some, what are these? The Arid of the Gap over here to try to start firing on these Gwinian sentries, trying to kind of hold them back, but he wasn't doing a good job. He did not use Rohan exactly how you probably should have used them. And our Easterling ally ended up charging these Lokrum Macemen, pulling back from Umbar. And he's going to come over here and try to help us out over here on our right flank. My plan over here was I was going to use these cliffs as an anchor for our left flank and kind of use it to kind of protect and not have to worry about their cav or any other infantry trying to envelop us here. Now, as you can see, our Iron Hill pikemen are taking quite a bit of damage from these Gundor archers. What, they got 35 kills already, and they're also causing some pretty high casualties along our Iron Hills crossbowmen. We haven't really gotten too many kills with our crossbows, which was unfortunate. Kind of helped weaken their front line maybe a bit, but nothing too major. Over here, he's starting to use this inlet here and this path through this marshy ground with his cav. I ended up trying to send it over some Karnan River Guards over here to try to stop them, but they did not perform well against the Knights of the Silver Swan. I thought that they were going to be able to hold the line. I don't think we got to form a proper battle line before we were caught in this ferocious charge by the Knights of the Silver Swan, which are honestly, I would argue, one of the best cav units, if not the best cav unit in the game. He ended up sending over some Gundor cav and some Khan cataphracts over here to kind of just try to cause some chaos. I ended up charging these two Karnan Spear Guard to try to catch them here. And obviously we're going to start getting taken in the rear here. These two units are pretty much done. Charge these Maddock Warriors off against these Khandish Cataphracts, trying to chase them off. They did engage with the Bane of the Steppes, our allies general unit. Obviously got the upper hand. Over here, this is exactly what our ally with Rohan tried to do. He tried to hold this line here and use the cav as an anchor, right? Kind of as a bulwark against them getting through. And obviously, you're going to need very heavy spear infantry or pikemen to do this. And I don't know why he used Rohan, especially just cav units in general, to try to, use that tactic to, try to hold this line. It didn't work out too well. Over here, Khand and Iron Hills under Sharp have not made contact yet with their melee infantry. They're kind of just squaring each other up right now. Alright, but our other ally did bring his Lokrum Maceman in, and he started engaging with the Gundor Sword Infantry. And obviously they're going to perform pretty well. They are Mace Infantry, so they should have pretty high armor piercing damage. Yeah, they're starting to drop them pretty good there. It's two just fell in consecutive order. And of course, we're going to take that advantage, and we're going to take his initiative. We're going to start charging in our Iron Hills pikemen against their Gundor Sword Infantry. We should perform pretty well against them, obviously, because they're not going to be able to get that close to us. Over here, I ended up charging in some Iron Hills warriors to come and face their other Gundor Sword Infantry. And I also formed a line of our Karnan River Guards, really just trying to shoo away this Knights of the Silver Swan here. I also got two Maddock Warriors formed up here in the back because they kind of did take this inlet, this path through the marshland. And I also formed up some Iron Hills crossbowmen back here, maybe to try to cause as many casualties as possible. They got a good volley off against these Gundor cav. I did figure that they were going to drop more. I mean, yeah, they dropped like, what, 4 or 5 there. but I figured that they would do way better against these cab units than they did. And maybe they just weren't getting really good volleys off. Our Rohan, ally ended up charging in some of his cav, like his Knights of the House of Earl, against these Knights of the Silver Swan. He just didn't. They didn't really get good charges off. You know what I mean? Like he kind of like shoot them away, but he didn't really get good charges in here at all. And he's going to go back and try to shoo off these Kondish cataphracts. He's got some horse archers over here firing into them. But yeah, they pretty much got this inlet. They're just using this path to kind of come around our flank. So as you can see, we're starting to get rolled up. Umbar is coming through. Pope John Paul with Dorwinians coming through. Sharp here in the center has engaged with Kond. It's not going to go too well for him, especially now that Umbar is going to start coming around with these maces of Tolfalas. And they're really just going to start taking these guys in the rear. He did try to form box formation with these iron guards, these diamond formations, really just trying to use as much defense on his flank as possible to try to help shield his main melee line, but it just really didn't work out. Over here, yeah, these Kondish Berserkers are absolutely just destroying his dwarves here. They're falling in quick consecutive order. Not good. And obviously you can see Pope John Paul went ahead and charged against our Rohan allies and completely destroyed them. They didn't even countercharge, right? Like these are the Knights of the House of Earl. They're heavy shock cav. They should have gotten the upper hand against these Gwinian sentries, but they didn't. And, they were just sitting open targets for the, Pope's charges here. Also, their archers came in, started causing some pretty decent casualties to the Arid of the Eastfold. He goes ahead and retreats. He's kind of just feigning retreats at this point. And obviously we're getting rolled up here. These cav are just absolutely destroying our flanks and our positions down here. Pretty much, as you can see, we're just getting rolled up in quick, order. And at this point, the battle's pretty much over. We have what? Yeah, we're starting to lose troops very, very fast. We ended up taking out these Gundor sword infantry, though, especially these Lokrum macemen. They performed really well against them, and they start dropping these Gundor archers. Over here, we are doing decent. Okay, we ended up breaking their Gundor sword infantry over here as well. We're trying to get a handle of these infantry, or these cav units that are right behind us, causing so much mayhem. But Pope John Paul is now sweeping around to take our right flank in the rear, even though he started on their extreme right. Yeah, it wasn't good. And as you can see now here, Sharp is being completely and utterly surrounded, and his positions are pretty much overrun. He's getting surrounded by the forces of evil. These dwarven squares slash diamond formations with these iron guards, these guys end up, pretty much holding out pretty well. And they realize that, hey, we're gonna, just keep moving, and they end up coming for easier pickings. But they do always keep a strong force surrounding them here, especially with Kond and these Air Pharazons Asgar. And these Kondish Berserkers. Now over here, these Rohan factions are being absolutely taken out. He's trying to fight them off. It's just not really going well, especially with these Akka chosen. I mean, they're dropping some of them, sure, but then they're just getting pummeled with archers here. These Dorwinian factions are starting to charge in. We ended up charging our Iron Hills pikemen back to our rear, trying to hold off these Pinnith Galen spearmen, trying to chase off these cav units, which we did a pretty good job in doing, if I don't mind saying. So it looks like Mythic's going to go ahead and charge in his Knights of the Silver Swan. They didn't really get a good charge in here. These Madoc Warriors are going to try to drop as many of them as possible. It looks like these Knights of the Silver Swan, they're actually, taking pretty heavy casualties. We actually did pretty well against them. These Karnan River Guard are starting to, kind of hold them off at a distance with these spears. Over here, so Sharp ended up trying to form a line. We tried to form a defensive box to try to fight off the enemy, but it just wasn't going to plan. So I ended up charging in my Aaron Mithrin veterans, my Iron Hills warriors trying to make a heroic last stand. Over here, these Pinnith Galen spearmen really did not perform too well. They ended up, getting taken out pretty decisively, I would say, by, oh no, that was devastating. All right, that was a good one, Pope. So it looks like we got our Arid Mithrin veterans charging in against these Derwinian Vineland men-at-arms. They should perform pretty well against them considering they're very heavy shock infantry and heavy infantry versus just normal medium melee infantry. And I brought in some more pikemen to try to, hold them off. But these jabs, that's like I said earlier in the video, these jabs were going to come in handy. And they absolutely demolished our Iron Hill pikemen. Took out like 2 ranks. Okay. I mean, it was a good battle. It was fun. But as you can see, we were completely enveloped, completely rolled up, and it was pretty much a done deal at that point. Iron Fortress Guardians are trying to fight these guys off. It's not doing so well. And he's got a small pocket of, what are these guys? Yeah, Sons of the Hills or something. I think this is their general unit, being surrounded by Cav and Wayne Rider Spear Warriors, which are awesome. Look at these spearheads. Just alone look awesome. Looks so good. Now we got some Iron Hills pikemen over here facing these Watchers of Fennes Gondrin. And obviously they're not gonna stand a chance. These are just malicious spear infantry. And our pikemen end up getting some pretty good kills against them. They're really just pushing them back. How much of these Arid Mithrin Veterans got? 121 kills. I expected them to honestly perform maybe a little bit better. But it is what it is. Got some Iron Hills warriors fighting over these Vineland men-at-arms. And we're starting to get surrounded. Our general is completely taken out. No, that was our general. No, it wasn't. No. That was Sharp's general. But our general's dead. Dan Ironfoot is dead. And it's pretty much, a done deal at this point. He's got some Avari warriors in here. Yep, there goes Dan Ironfoot. And they're going to start chucking jabs. Oh, no, maybe not. No jab volley? But yeah, guys, it's pretty much a done deal at this point. I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. Go ahead and please hit that like button down below. And please hit that subscription button down here in the right-hand corner of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Perry the Trojan out.